Hey guys, welcome back. This is a first for me. Never had one of these. And it is, I don't know how well you can see that with the glare, because it's in silver. Yeah, it's a Carlton Sire guitar. Now, these are very confusing in terms of the models, the number of models and the features and everything else, at least to me. And I'll tell you the story of why I bought this guitar. But this is an S3 Gen 1 Sire Larry Carlton, right, Strat style guitar. And it comes in typically two configurations, an HSS, right, and an SSS, a more conventional Strat configuration. And the main difference between the new Gen 2 S3 guitars and the Gen 1, which is this, is not too much. And I'll tell you exactly, what you're getting with the Gen 3. So, first off, the pickups are different, right? These are what they call ST, standard ST pickups, and they are ceramics in this guitar, this being the Gen 1. The newer version, which is the Gen 2, has Alnico pickups now in the guitar as opposed to these ceramics. And they have more of a vintage tone, right? A little bit less output. It's debatable whether there is more clarity in the pickups, but they are clearly different pickups. There are some additional new colors, although you get less color choice, which is interesting. So the Gen 3s, I believe there are 5 colors to choose from. With the Gen 1, there are 6 colors to choose from. And let's talk about color just for a second. This guitar is listed as being Tobacco Sunburst. Now, again, guys, full disclosure, I know I'm colorblind. But I also know that this has a lot more red in it than it does brown, at least to my eyes. This almost looks more like a cherry sunburst than a tobacco sunburst. Now, it's not red like you would have in a cherry sunburst, but it's more reddish, it has a more reddish hue than brown, at least to my eyes. But anyway, it's considered tobacco sunburst, which is interesting. And the Gen 3 version of this guitar, or Gen 2 version, I'm jumping ahead. Gen 2 version also has a tobacco sunburst color as well. I typically like this, that's why I went with it, obviously. Now, the Gen 2 version of this guitar also has a slightly tinted neck to make it supposedly look more vintage, or more of a yellowish tint to the back of the neck. This neck is a natural maple neck, which I like, and it doesn't have a gloss finish on it. It's just a nice, smooth, natural finish, which I like as well. I don't really like a heavy gloss finish in the back of the neck. So the fact that the new version of this guitar is not any different except for the fact that it has Alnico versus ceramic pickups, some different colors, and a tinted neck, I don't think it warrants the price increase, right? Which I think it simply was a price increase for the new version, full disclosure. The new version of this guitar will go for, or goes for currently, $459. This guitar was $399. The reason I bought this was I got a very good deal on it from Chicago Music Exchange. And they were running maybe a blowout on this guitar because there were no more in stock. And they had this on sale for 20% off. So it was $319, free shipping. That's about as good as I've seen on this guitar, brand new. $319, free shipping. So I went with the deal at Chicago Music Exchange. I would put the link in the description, but they're out of stock. They sold out pretty fast. This guitar does not come with a gig bag or any really bling or anything. You get the guitar and you get this with the guitar, which is basically a tremolo arm and the kind of trem that just pops in. on this thing. Doesn't screw in, which is nice. And you get some tools. You get two different Allen wrenches, a long one, which is interesting, as you can see, and a shorter Allen wrench, and the smaller tool for the intonation. This is a 2-point trem on this guitar. I will talk about the features right now. And again, I don't think there's much. I heard demos and read reviews on the pickups, the Alnico versus the ceramics. And a lot of people like the sound of these better, actually, than the S7, which comes with the Alnico. That's the step up, and the new Gen S3s. So I don't like typically a darker, as they describe it, warmer tone. I tend to go for a little bit more of a brighter, higher mid type tone. That's my personal preference. And this guitar supposedly has that versus the Alnico pickups. So I actually like this model better. And there are some YouTube videos out there that prefer the S3 to the S7, which is a higher end guitar in the Sire line. So it's a personal thing. But in any event, this guitar has a mahogany body, not an alder body like a lot of Strat style guitars do. It's a mahogany body, but the wood is actually beautiful. The grain is nice. 3-piece body, very nicely finished. Has an actual rosewood fretboard on this guitar, and it's a rolled fretboard. This guitar, the neck on this guitar is one of the best feeling necks I've had on a Strat style guitar since the Jet that I had. And I think I even actually prefer this to the Jet. It's a little bit more comfortable to my hands. So the neck on this guitar is absolutely insanely good. I love it. Rolled fret ends, not a sharp fret on this guitar. These are 22 medium jumbo frets, 9.5-inch radius on this guitar. I went over the fact that it has a maple neck on the back, 25.5-inch scale, so it's a proper Strat style guitar scale length. Ivory dot inlays, probably mother of toilet seat, not really real ivory dot inlays on it. 2-point trem, as I mentioned, on the and it's locked down pretty flat, so I think you have to adjust the back of the guitar if you want to make this thing floating. Again, I'm not a trem user, so I kind of like the fact that it's locked and that the tuning stability is a little bit better that way. I'm not using the trem. Bone nut, extremely well cut on this guitar. Strings are aligned. String height is beautifully set up on this instrument. Sealed tuners, 15-to-1 gear ratio. I believe. I think I read that somewhere because it doesn't really state it. But in any event, they're sealed tuners, and they actually work pretty well on this guitar. No, these aren't 15-to-1. It's another guitar I was reviewing, believe it or not. I just want to make sure all the information is accurate. It doesn't really state what the gear ratio is, but they're pretty solid tuners in terms of how they feel. There's no slippage in them. And, it's hard to tell if they're holding tune extremely well. It's a new guitar and new strings, the whole bit, and it's been going in and out of tune, and with most of my guitars, right? I normally have, I normally play guitars that have a drop D effect without really putting the guitar in drop D because they're usually out of tune. That thing flew over like a lead balloon, right? What else? Let's see here. Ceramic pickups, 1 volume, 1 tone. So it doesn't have the 2 tones that you typically have on a conventional Strat. So that's this guitar. And again, I love the feel of this neck. It's a C-shaped neck, but a very thin C in my opinion, but not too thin, not like an Ibanez thin neck. And the fretboard is pristine. The guitar was set up perfect. All kudos. My first Sire guitar, very impressed by the QC on this guitar. The finishing of the instrument, the string set up of the height of the instrument, it almost appears like the thing was set up before they shipped it out. So let's let's get now to the sound of the guitar so you can hear what this thing sounds like. The only nit I have with this guitar in general is I'm not crazy about this really, really pointed bouts on the guitar, as you can see, the pointed corners. And I think that the top bout is a little too long. I don't know what your thoughts are. So I'm not super crazy about this shape as opposed to a standard Strat style shape. I like these to be a little bit more rounded off and a little smaller on this top bout. And I'm also not 100% crazy about the shape of this headstock. It doesn't have a beak per se, but it's a little bit of an odd headstock shape. Some may like it. I'm just not crazy about it. I do like the Larry Carlton signature, and I love the Sire logo there on the guitar. But looks like a figure 8 S. But yeah, so that's that. Now let's hear what the sounds of the guitar are. So 5-way switch, 1 volume, 1 tone. This is the neck pickup clean, and then I'll go through all the positions with distortion. So let's listen to it clean first. Neck pickup position. Neck and middle pickup. Just the middle pickup. And now the middle and the bridge. So middle and the humbucker. And now just the humbucker. Now the nice thing about these pickups is that when you put it in the humbucker position with just the humbucker engaged, it doesn't completely blow you out in terms of a volume swell like a lot of inexpensive HSS guitars do. These pickups are fairly well balanced. So here is the neck, here is the middle, and now here is the humbucker. So you hear it's a fuller sound, a lot fuller sound, but it doesn't blast you. The volume is not really, completely blowing out the other pickups like a lot of the HSS inexpensive guitars do. Very well balanced in my opinion. And we'll play single notes in all positions. No coil tap on this guitar, so you can't split the humbucker. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I don't think I did. So those are the clean sounds. Now, let's put on some distortion. Okay, guys. Now we'll play some notes. Pardon the loud hum. Now, first position there is hum. Second position, no 60 cycle hum. Third position, hum. Fourth position, no hum. Fifth position, no hum. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Okay, so that's the Sire S3. Great guitar. For $319, this was hard to beat. For $399, it's still a very good price. You're right now in the sort of in the Jet area of guitars, which also make very good Strat style import instruments. Yamaha is there. With the Pacifica, certainly classic vibe from Squire in this price range. What else? The Music Man Sterling cutlasses are sort of in this price range. So yeah, that's kind of where this sits. But I can tell you right now, I had and I said had, right? I had a Fender made in Mexico Strat. That blue one that you've probably seen in a bunch of videos. I sold it. I like this guitar. I actually like the way this guitar feels better than that guitar. It just played nicer to me. So I sold the Fender made in Mexico. I've had a PRS SE Silver Sky, as you know from earlier videos. I prefer the neck on this to that guitar. It had a bit of a thicker neck that I couldn't bond with. It had an 8.5-inch radius. I also like the way this guitar sounds better than that guitar did. What else? Classic vibes, as you know, Squires I've played. I think this is a better value than those guitars. G&L tributes. I've had a tribute in the past. G&L now is no longer with us. And I prefer this to that guitar from the way the neck feels as well on this guitar. Sterling Cutlass, again, the neck profile on that guitar I didn't bond with as I do with this. So yeah, I mean, I think this guitar is a really, really good alternative to a budget Strat style guitar, depending upon what your preferences are. If you want something that has an HSS configuration, gives you a little bit more versatility, or it also comes in SSS as well. Really good sounding ceramic stock pickups in the guitar, finished beautifully, rolled fretboard on this thing, great frets, great feeling neck, finished perfectly in my opinion, right? And it has, nice cutouts. I didn't go over this earlier, but you have the cut here on this guitar. It also has, a cut here on the back, like the Fender USA Ultras, I think, have. it's got some really nice, you know, contours on this guitar. It's very comfortable to play, and if you are a shredder, which I'm not, you have great access to playing, you know, as high on this fretboard as you want. The headstock, again, not my favorite, but some may like it. It's a glossed headstock. The shape of the body, it's not my preference, but again, these are minor things when it comes to playability on this guitar. It doesn't have a neck dive like some do, right? It's just a comfortable guitar to play. It sounds great. It feels good. It checks all the boxes for me. I'm glad I bought it. So guys, that's the Larry Carlton Sire S3 Strat style guitar. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you like these videos, guys, please subscribe, please share. And until the next one, be well, see you soon. Take care.